Good morning, people. Nappy Child, I say you were in there first. Good morning to you, dear. Jackson 23. Good morning, honey. And to all those in the clouds that'll be in the clouds, those that's doing a replay, I thank you. Yeah, get your coffee, dear. Get your coffee. I've got mine already. Oh, yeah. Okay. We got that out the way. I got that out the way. So I just want to say good morning to everybody. Like I said, my title says I got bigger fish to fry instead of fools portraying. There are some things that I look at on YouTube, and shout out to all those that, watched the panel and they had their opinion about me on the panel and things that go on. I want to say, hey, Charlie, how you been, dear? I'm sorry I haven't been to any poker games. I I've been losing out on my wrestling, so I had to catch up on that. Yeah, you guys can talk to each other in the platform. I'll be trying to read and give you my opinion about things and how I feel about things. The panel that Pizza gave the other night, it was good. It was fun for me, but it was also kind of disappointing in a way because the aftermath, and I shouldn't be disappointed in it, the aftermath was full of bullshit, with people talking, trying to portray this and portray that. And let me tell you, people, I'm not going to go over my stories or whatever was said on YouTube years ago or whatever. However, I am going to talk to certain content creators that if you feel like you want to join something, there are rules, but then they might seem silly to us. But don't get discouraged. You still go out there and you do your own thing. If you have an opinion, no matter how old or how young you are, you speak your mind and you stay with it. You stay true to it. It's the people out there that I find that are miserable. They don't want to tell their truth. They want to hide behind a facade of being this and being that. When I came on here years ago, and I made the mistake of trying to belong to something that I thought was cool and everything. But then I thought about it, the way they were treating people and how they would do shit to them, and a lot of people, including myself, it got on their nerves, and they left. And then you get to a point to where you branch out, you go find different things, you go look at different things, then you see how people are treating one another here on this apparatus, and which I know out of all my years of living, we've had those people all my life. Even though they weren't able to be as vocal or be around as many people as they do now. And what I mean about that is with the internet, the phone calls, the IGing of each other, and all that bull crap. You know, it's easy to hook up with somebody. Let's put it that way. A complete stranger, you know, we can hook up with and say things about one another or other people that, you know, on Mad Day, like I said, when Mad Day comes, they do a lot of bullshit. They keep up drama. And to me, for these young whippersnappers, and I'm gonna call them that, to try to tell me about my life and my journey throughout the years, I don't understand it. There's no cliche, walk a mile in my shoes. Uh, I don't want you to walk a mile in my shoes. I want you to walk and be yourself. But in the same interim, you should learn respect. You should learn tolerance, because I had to learn it. I had to learn it. And I still am learning about tolerance. You know, even in breakups and relationships, you have to be tolerable of people that disagree with you, and, you know, but they are not malicious about the disagreement. I know you, Charlie. You're right. I've been watching you for a while, and we've been together for a while. And I respect you as a woman. Number one, that's my biggest downfall. I think with a lot of people here on these apparatuses, I noticed that a lot of men on here hate women. I mean, truly hate women. I notice a lot of men on here are self-centered. You know, their ego won't allow them to be open and honest about themselves, let alone anybody else. I noticed that even a lot of women are against women, which they shouldn't be. Yeah, that's my stuff going off. A lot of women shouldn't be. And when they rally together, they should stick to one another, stick with one another. Now, my assessment of Pizarro is that she's always been a troll. She's always been there saying things and doing things and trying to, uh, let's just say, be in the limelight, but stay out of the limelight. There are other people on here that like to come up and portray themselves as the big bad wolf, or they know it all, or they're geniuses in life. And hell, they're not even 50 years old yet. You know, the guys that are 50, you guys that are 50 years old, this should be the time in your life when you're reflecting on what you want out of life, not what you need in life. You know, I passed that stage a long time ago. And when I came up here on YouTube, I came with a thing in mind that, yeah, I'll join and see how people are. But I see people are still the same way. They sit around, they gossip, they talk about things that it's not really fulfilling, except for the Hollywood's type drama and all that bullshit. The doxing of one another, the striking of pages when you really have no need to strike them, because it's supposed to be freedom of speech. But I can understand it when it gets too malicious, it gets too crazy. And I've watched people post stuff on YouTube, and I say to myself, I thank you. A lot of people say wisdom. I'm not wise enough to know, but I'm wise enough to know one thing. When I'm tired of of people coming at me because of a story that I gave years ago. And like I said, I'm not homophobic. That's another thing. I'm not a racist. But I do know that there are some bad people in this world. There are some people that want to destroy instead of building. I'm gonna try my best to build. I don't mean in the physical sense, but to keep building in my heart and in my mind that all people are not equal. All people are not the same. All people do not believe in everything. But one thing I do believe in is peace of mind, having a peace of mind. I want to give shout outs to some people that I've listened to in the last few days. Uh, the Miss O, K Fit, even listened to Lady Nika, Pizarro, and to some of the men, Ghetto, Lemon, Malik. Thank you guys for being up on that panel with me. And even Ro, thank you, Ro. But I also want to thank Aisha. And you want to know why I want to thank Aisha? Because she has opened my mind and my heart about a young baby who has been taken away from us at 1 year old through the actions of things that sometimes we even forget to talk about, that we brush it under the rug. This is not going to be anything about me doing something or saying something nasty about somebody, because like I said, I'm old enough and wise enough to know that I have an attorney, I have lawyers, and we're fighting with YouTube and we're fighting with people on there. Well, thank you. Thank you, dear. All right. I'm not going to get up here and go back and forth with you, Sir King, and I'm going to put your name out there because you came up this morning with some slanderous shit again. And like I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I'm going to let the white folks deal with you on that one, okay? And far as you trying to bring somebody else into the situation, again, when your platform is low and you don't have enough people up there like you used to, you do get jealous of folks and you try to low grade them and downgrade them. You try to make them feel like they're not shit. But let me tell you something. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of where I've been and what I've done. I have showed my face on YouTube and people have seen me on YouTube. And unlike you, I'm not going to hide behind a facade. Okay. I'm an old man that loves life. You hate your life. And to Jay Wilson, with your so-called preaching behind, you never fooled me. You remind me of a lot of black preachers that I know growing up that would talk that bullshit in the pulpits and then sneak around the back with the little boys, because let's face it, you're a gay man and you don't like women. So there's my assessment on that. And like I said, I'll let my attorneys deal with you on that. And for all you people out there, don't be afraid to go and file a complaint. You file a complaint. If you don't like the way you're being treated, you're bullied, harassed, and all this stuff, file a complaint. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be yourself here on this apparatus. Now, I'm not saying knock down freedom of speech, but when the speech becomes malicious and becomes vulgar and it becomes crazy, then it's time to do something about it. Now, once again, I like to say the reason I'm getting a different matter of opinion on this stuff. I listened to Aisha. There's a lot of people on Facebook they were arguing so much yesterday that there are things going on out in the world that are happening to black people and white people that's an injustice being done. How in the hell Can you condone a 1-year-old child being shot by a police officer in Senatobia, Mississippi? And a lot of people haven't been following it. They've been too busy following other stuff, which I understand. But like I said, I listened to a lot of people. When Aisha came up there Monday with her story, and she was so angry and I can understand it as a mother and a grandmother. She was so angry and frustrated at the way things have been going on in this country until I felt it. I felt her heart, because I'm wondering, as a Black man, the things that are being committed against us now, and we're too passive to look at it and say anything about it, until I told her I'm going to follow her. I'm going to follow that story. And I looked it up, and really, there was no need for a 1-year-old child to die over a shoplifting incident, a Black child shoplifting incident, which proves to me that even if they were doing it, I don't know. I don't know the whole full story yet, and I'm working on it. If they did do it, that there's no call for unjustifiable homicide, murder, which I'm going to say it because a lot of people say you can't say. Well, anyway, there's no reason for it. And when you know there's a baby in the vicinity, even as a police officer, you don't fire on a car with a child in it. I don't know. I'm just going to say that my focus is going to be on things that really matter, And I will continue to support those that have something good in their content to say. And Room Shaker, I got to give you credit wherever you are, dear. And if you're listening, thank you for your support. And I listen to you. And yeah, we can agree to disagree on certain things, but you make a lot of sense. You do make a lot of sense. Why should I care? Why should I care? When I see the self-destruction that people are doing here on this page, why should I care when, yeah, I don't know what shaka shaka is, baby, but boom, boom. uh, I, why should I care when there's injustice being done to people out there that we kind of sweep under the rug? It's a story that right now is tearing at my heart. To know that a 1-year-old child, and really, to me, it doesn't matter if it had been Black or white or anything. This is a baby, and our police officers I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know how this country has become since the new regime. I'm going to call it that. I lived in Mississippi for a while back in the day, before a lot of these people were even born on here. And let me tell you, it was hard then, and it's hard now. I stayed down in Sardis, south of Senatobia. I've seen things during that era and that time that is still going on today. The racism, the hatred. Yes, she doesn't thinks about her, and that's the truth. Aisha, like I said, she's a mother, she's a grandmother, and she's a Black woman that doesn't care about her popularity. And you know what? That's what I'd look at too. I'm not looking to be popular on here. I just look to be able to come on, entertain folks, and do my thing, and go to, if I want to hit a stream or something, just voice my opinion. But I know that there are some people out there that'll always come up and try to throw a monkey wrench into everything that you do. So I guess that's why we call them monkeys. So Talent, you're my main monkey wrench. Okay, you always try to throw things up in my face but yet you haven't proven to me how much of a man you are when it comes to showing that you care about people. You don't seem to care about anybody but yourself. And I can see you a mile off coming. I want to say to Lady Nika, hey, yeah, we had our falling outs back in the day. Everybody had their falling outs, but I've learned that keeping my mouth shut on a subject or something that happened back then, it matters that, hey, you let it simmer, you turn the pot off. I'm not going to go back and rehash and reheat this old stuff we got out here because it's old and it's stale. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new era for people. And if you want to live and wallow in your past, that's on you. And that's not directed to Lady Nick. I'm just talking about people in general, things in general. I'm not going to stop myself from doing what I want to do on here, especially when it comes to music, because I've seen and I noticed here lately that even on YouTube, even those music videos that they copyrighted me for and all that bullshit, they're bringing them back out again. I'm out there, you know. Even when I was in a so-called relationship with somebody, her picture's up there, and I hope she doesn't get mad because that's the way YouTube, that's the way it was. I didn't go in there and try to edit nothing. I didn't try to delete nothing out, but they're bringing those back. They're changing too. You know, you have to be able to, you put up with the shit that you don't like, and you still put up with the shit that you do like. And I like being able to come on here and play some music every once in a while and do my own thing, you know. And just because you like all that crazy bullshit out there when it comes to music, I'm from old school. Yes, I am old school. And I listen to old school music. I love my old school music. I quit listening to bullshit around I'd say the 90s, early 90s, late early 2000s, when we started degrading ourselves, using that N word in our music all the time. And I realized that it wasn't the artists themselves, it was the company that we keep that made them do this. There were some great songs out then that Tupac, even though he was supposed to be such a rebel rouser, he made music that made you think about his mama, the young women having babies at a young age. You know, uh, I don't know. I'm just thinking about the things going on YouTube now. But one thing I am going to say for you, Aisha, I will be following you. I am. You know, I'm subscribed to you. I'm going to go in depth and look at un this act that was even not necessary, because for an officer to fire on a person for shoplifting, that's the number one rule that they don't do. And like I say, I've been in corrections. I've also learned the laws about carrying a firearm, transporting prisoners when we had firearms and different things. They might have changed since then, and I know they have. But back then, we were taught to use care when transporting a person, but we were also taught to be safe with our lives. We all wanted to come home after our shift. But now it seems like these police officers have forgotten or haven't been taught that they were supposed to serve and protect life. And when you see there's a child in the car and you still fire upon that car, that's a big disregard about life. Yes, he was a lyricist, dear. Um, Firing on a vehicle with two women and a baby in it does not justify anything to me. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Now they've given out the officer's name and he's suspended pending investigation. Well, we'll see how far that goes. Because, like I said, I lived in Mississippi years back, and it was harder then than it is now. Uh, I was south of Senatobia. I used to go to Senatobia, had relatives in Como, Mississippi, and all through that area. My mom was born in Bobo, Mississippi. Her kinfolks are still down there. And the way of life, it's changed, but it's still almost, there are towns where you don't go in after sundown. Let's put it that way. Now, for everybody out here, it did my heart good. And, you know, like I said, I watch people. It did my heart kind of good to see Lolo and just Krista up there on the platform, even though I know I don't get into women's stuff, but I know 1 minute they care about each other because they have a cause, and the next minute they can hate each other. Even so, I thank you too, for even being brave enough to bring them up there at a time when everybody's trying to be separate but equal. You can't be equal if you're not on the same page. You can't be equal if you don't give a person a right to express themselves. You gave them that right. A lot of people didn't see it. Yeah, there's a lot of some shade thrown in, and I noticed that too. But it also did my heart good to know that there still might be hope in this world. There's nothing wrong with a person apologizing and meaning what they say. There's nothing wrong with a person apologizing and moving on away from the bullshit, which seems a lot of people can't do because why? They love the drama. Now, I'm very fortunate. I heard this motherfucker sit up there and say about me being in a hospital half dead. Well, let me tell you what, I wasn't half dead. But I did let people know that I was still alive and kicking. Okay. I have family that watches me on here too also. And they appreciate what I'm doing. I mean, real family. Now, I also watched Jay Dunn this morning. And Jay Dunn, thank you. Thank you for showing me that you do have a heart and you care about things. But I'm not going to use that to go against anybody. That's your opinion. That was your thought, baby. Yes, it was a great show. It was a great show, dear. I enjoyed Pizza being up there doing her own thing, trying to make a difference, trying to change things. I'm not mad at Pizza. I'm not condemning Pizza. I'm not going to sit up here and say that she was doing it because the beef sector, and that's another thing, this beef sector bullshit. I don't care what sector you're in. You're black. If you got an opinion, you can join it. It doesn't matter if it's health sector, which is room shaker. It doesn't matter if it's the Miss O, which is the court. I call her the courtroom. And even women and people like Dee Dee, they want to call her Dee Dee Loop Loop. I listen to her too. I've been there. I haven't. There's nothing I can say because, like I said, I don't like getting into women's problems. The problem I have when it's men on here getting on the women because they've been done wrong in their lifetime, or they want to be, their egos doesn't allow them to be the man that they really should be to themselves and to other women. I've had countless of relationships, and I'm not going to talk about them because I know that some of it was my fault, and I'm willing to admit that. But again, I've had some women that, hey, I had to leave. I mean, as a man, physically leave, because I was And does it make me weak to say that I was abused by a woman? No. It's just, it made me stronger to say, hey, I'm willing to walk out on this. I'm not going to stay and take this. I have testimony of people watching me walk away and being cussed out at, followed behind, and even walked up upon and being slapped at one time. But that doesn't make me less of a man. It just makes me realize that, hey, you stayed out of a lot of troubles like that. And the same goes for you women. You don't have to take the abuse from a man. You don't have to listen to him because he's the breadwinner. I don't care what anybody says. ZX is one of the most atrocious people here on YouTube, the most disgusting man on YouTube. But yet there's people that seem to like him. There are people in here that worship him. And what makes it so bad, there are women that do these things. ZX is, let me tell you folks, at age 60, I wasn't doing all that, the things he was doing. But he's sickly. I can look at a person and tell. I've been around a long time. I've seen death. I watched death come and go. I've even seen those that survived death. But when you look into his eyes, the way he's talking now, he's close to it. He's close to death. Hello, Miss Jean. Hello, Miss Jean. I didn't see you up there. Like I said, I'm collecting my thoughts because of, number one, this baby. Sundown, yes, I'll definitely do a topic on the sundown towns. And let me tell you, people, there's a place right over here in Illinois, not too far, was once called Anna, Illinois, A-N-N-E, Anna, Illinois. And before it became segregated and before really things changed, the word Anna meant ain't no Nigger allowed. Okay. So yeah, we've come a long way in a way, but still there's a lot we have to get done. There's also safe houses right here in Cape. There were where Black people used to travel. And if they didn't have a hotel, these houses would let the Black travelers live in and spend the night. I had a friend that she bought one of them houses, and come to find out it was a safe haven for Black people that traveled. There's the blue book, the book to where my dad even had to use when he was driving a truck to keep him safe, to where he could go park his truck at night and relax. So yes, we do have a lot of history that I could talk about and the things that I will talk about. But right now, I'm just saying I ain't got time for fools no more. You want to be foolish on here, that's you. Okay. I will say, though, that there are a lot of people on here, even though they do foolish stuff, at times they do come out and really speak their mind, and they show what's going on out in the world. Do I agree with everything that people do? No. MU. I don't agree with her politics, but I respect her as a woman because she was able to get past her addictions. Now, I'm just praying and hoping and praying that she doesn't fall back into it, because being in politics and talking about politics makes people hate you, and you don't want to be hated. Okay? Don't let them get to you because they have a difference of opinion. But you also have to be cognizant and mindful of the things that are going on around you from this president out here and the things that he is doing, like cutting programs and taking mothers with kids and sitting them out on the streets. Our own farmers have complained about the things. The tariffs is what caused a lot of bull crap, number one. So am I going to get in there and be foolish with people? No, I'm going to get up here and I'm going to laugh with you when I laugh, when I want to laugh. I'm going to get up here and I'm going to cry with you when I want to cry. And I want to say once again, I thank those that supported me all through the years, that, you know, the things that I like to do, which is mostly music. I don't want to come up here, but I had to make a separate channel from that, because over there we have fun. I see people in the chat, even the worst enemies will come up and speak. You know what I'm saying? If you got a beef, that music soothes the savage beast. And I'm not calling nobody a beast, but it does take our mind off of the craziness that goes on here on these YouTube platforms. And I don't care if I have 3, 5, 6, 10, or how many people. I'm doing what I like to do. I'm going to continue to do what I like to do, long as I am able. And K-Fit, this morning, I heard you again, and I want to say thank you for thanking Diva. And I thank Diva also, Diva Tomboyish. I thank her too. And yeah, last night, yeah, it's eye-opening. And what did you say? Let me see. Charlie said we need to be the ones to help end it. We are in charge. Yes, we do. We're all in charge of our own lives. We're all in charge of our own way of thinking and feeling. But for me, I'm old enough to know better. I'll put it that way. I'm old enough to know that I can't get out there and do the splits anymore like Jackie Wilson, but I love playing his music. I'm old enough to know that I can't hit a baseball or play tennis like I used to, but I still love watching the game. The only thing that I haven't gotten real bad at and not being able to do is go fishing. And as long as I can throw a pole out in that water or even cast a pole, I'm going to do that. But there are things on here on YouTube, like I said, that have affected me in a way to where I'm getting to realize that we're not equal. We're not the same. And some people just want to try to ruin other people's lives or control people or say the most foulest things, to where if they put their life out there on the line, people would have things to talk about. I'm just going to say to all of you out there, gossip is good. Yeah, gossip is great. Drama is good. Drama is great. But my life is not a reality TV show. Okay? I have to get out there and I have to do things. I have to be able to, just don't respond. But as a man, and that's another thing, dear, as a man, I'm going to respond to injustice. And what I mean by injustice, when other men come on here and try to make a fool out of me or call me this or call me that, I'm going to talk about that man. A woman is different. A woman is different. She'll say things to you that will hurt your heart and hurt your feelings, but you also let her know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but baby, you can't hurt me. And I don't care what woman comes out here and try to tell a story about me or something. If I haven't met you in real life, sweetheart, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Jokingly, yes, but to be vindictive, no. Because I know the women I've met in my lifetime, and I know the women who I still care about in my lifetime. And even on here, I never met them, but I respect them. And like I said, when a man tries to pit another woman, pit a woman against a man, he's less of a man. You know, yeah, me and Boss Lady New Jersey, we used to be up late nights and we had our fun. We did, but due to other circumstances, which, and I'll say, which was a woman, it ran a different course. But I'm not out here trying to love everybody's woman. I'm not out here trying to be with every woman because I know that's physically and mentally impossible. The only thing I'm going to say is, ladies, I appreciate y'all supporting me because I do have more women on my apparatus than I do men. I checked, I looked, and I appreciate it. And believe it or not, I haven't seen her in a while. Tracy was one of the main people on here when I was doing my music. She helped me get to that 1,000, her and some other women. But I remember Tracy especially because I used to drop in with her. Now, if I'm not living where you are, seeing you every day, don't get jealous of me. Please, don't get jealous of me. Yeah, the voice might resonate and everything else, but it's not the voice. Look to me as a man. Don't look to me as a sexy symbol voice, because it's not worth that, ladies. If a man's not willing to treat you right, to call you his queen and have you walk beside instead of behind him, don't worry about it. And I'm not going to get into couples relationships either, because those couples have been together some years longer than I was in some relationships. I can't say why they're still together. Yeah. I know you do. I know you do. And you know what? You're not the first one to say that. Believe it or not. In real life, they said that stuff too. You're not the first one. But I do realize, though, that my voice does, and I'll admit it, it'll make some women, you know, just like a woman's, certain women's voices. Yeah, it turns a man on. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse or as a weapon. What I am going to do, though, is try to bring you guys the best entertainment I can on here and support those that support me, like I said. Room Shaker, you're the main one. I thank you. K Fit is another one. I can't forget Ronnie Q either, because Ronnie Q she still does her thing, and it's in politics. So to all those people that I may forget to mention during a live or when I'm living, don't think I did it on purpose, okay? Because if I write everybody down, I will be giving everybody's name, and that would be taking up half of the that would be taking up half of the live. But I'll let you know I do support all of y'all. And tell Arky, hey, I miss her too. Girl, there's something wrong with me. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. Let me do this. I'll do this on a night when I get ready to do my music. You're catching me off guard. You really are. You're really catching me off guard. But I will do that. uh, very white, very white. Mm-mm-mm. Well, anyway, like I was saying, I just came up here to let people know that I appreciate you guys. And sometimes me being the subject of a YouTube fiasco or it's okay. It's okay. And a lot of things I'm going to say is the men. Okay, it's men. Well, I'm going to wiggle my hand on that one, like I said before. But egos do, I know, fly more heavily with men than it do women. So, but I'm going to start following the women and the men that do good, great content on here. Am I glad to see KRN back? Yes. You know, I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, hell, he's back. But I do remember him saying that he's not going to come back here doing the crazy stuff that people want him to do, because he moved on. He's gotten into areas to where he couldn't be associated with starting bullcrap or sitting up here talking bullcrap. And KRN, if you are into that political arena or trying to get into that political arena, I know how it could be. I know what it would be. You know, the first time that you come up and say something or do something, then boom, you're going to be on front page. So only thing I can say, young man, is have fun with it and be yourself. That's all I'm going to say. To Rico, you and I got into it yesterday about stuff. You say, I don't support you. Rico, I support you. I look at your lives, man. Come on. Let's be for real. But I can't say you haven't dropped down and supported me even when I was playing music. So there you go. I'm not going to sit up here and try to pick out little nitpicking shit, you know, to irritate folks. But I will say, once again, the main woman on here that has held me down has been Miguel. And you guys pray for her, please, because it's a hard road coming back from a stroke. Learning to walk again. And then when you already have other issues, it's hard. But I talk to her every day, and I try to give her hope and assurance, because we all need that in our lives every once in a while. I don't report on her every day because I don't want nobody coming up here making fun of her, because that will set me off in a tizzy. I don't give a damn if it's a man or a woman. But I respect Miguel. I do love Miguel. And I'm not going to sit up here and go through that with her, have her go through that, and she's trying to recover from something that is debilitating. And a lot of people wouldn't even be able to do it. So with that being said, I want to say thank you all. Charlie, thank you. Patty Mom, thank you. For those, again, that will be doing a replay, I thank you. Room Shaker, hi, baby. I didn't highlight you, but I see you were here. And thank you this morning for your kind thoughts and words. And Jackson 23. You and your flying monkeys, baby. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, boy. Yeah, we do love and miss her. Do love and miss her. And Room Shaker, you got this old man's heart. You know, you got this old man's heart. And be safe there in Chicago. Be safe in there in Chicago, because, like I said, now they're shooting our innocent babies. They're shooting our innocent children. And I want to know, when the hell is this world going to? Hell in a handbasket? Hell, we're already in hell. But like you said, that I'm going to follow that story, and I'm going to be reporting on it too, along with Aisha. And Aisha, once again, thank you, darling, for bringing me back down to earth, to stop worrying about these fools out here that's always got something negative to say. You know, thank you for opening up my heart again, because it takes me back to my civil rights eras and days when blacks were not allowed to do this and they were being mistreated. We're being mistreated today. We're being mistreated today. And I just want to say, people wake up, because there is more to life than YouTube. Even if it's in your own neighborhood, go out, take a walk, breathe. And with that, I'm going to say, and another thing, when I say I love you as Jesus loves us, I mean that. I mean that from my heart. And I'm not going to let no asshole mess around and say the word about the word love is crazy. Okay? You don't love anybody because you're afraid to be yourself. You downgrade women, then you want to try to talk about me and then drag another woman back into the situation to where we're at peace with ourselves, with one another. Okay. So Sir King, this is the last time I'm going to address you, because my attorney told me, don't say nothing that you'll regret. The only thing I'm going to say, don't you say anything anymore that you'll regret. And with that, I'm going to say, good evening, baby.
Story extends. Names carved deep in the brick and stone. Every block legend built their throne. No crowns given, we take our claim. Every street corner still knows the name. Legends don't fade, they echo and still. Concrete remembers what the papers conceal. This is the anthem, the fire, the pledge. Stories of the block live on the edge. Names carved deep in the brick and stone. Every block legend built their throne. No crowns given, we take our claim. Every street corner still knows the name. Legends don't fade, they echo and still. Concrete remembers what the papers conceal. This is the anthem, the fire, the pledge. Stories of the block live on the edge. Footsteps heavy like drums on the pavement. History bleeds through abandoned basements. Every mural's a chapter, every crack's a scar. Legends written louder than the engines of cars. Eyes in the shadows, whispers in code. Respect is the language on this narrow road. Chains rush slowly, but the spirit will break. Power in the silence and the moves we make. No statues raised, just candles and chalk. Every night sermon gets preached on the block. From dusk till dawn, the mist still ascends. Block legends never die, the story extends. Names carved